very involved in yourself. That's the only way you're going to progress in this event, whether it's on the one-loss side or the undefeated side. Now, those balls didn't break as well as we've seen in day one. I don't know a bunch about Kristina. Of course, obviously Zielinski with a huge win and maybe, you know, a breakthrough for the Polish team right there in Vegas just, you know, not long ago, a week or two ago.
Yeah, beat Lucius Yap in the final of that. He's been in fine form recently. I did think Zlateva looked a bit nervous and uncomfortable actually walking into the arena, but she's not used to that sort of thing, and that's not to say that she's going to feel the same way on the table, because once she actually gets playing, that's what she's much more familiar with, even if not necessarily on this bigger stage.
Yeah, that's going to be the most comfortable position for her once she gets that cue in her hand and gets to swing it a little bit. Now taking the two in the corner, that's just for position. Wow, what a lovely shot that was to get that close to the combination. That's something special there, Michael. A lot of players would have settled for a little more distance. Okay, this is going to get a bit tricky. And good thing, like most of the Polish players, pretty tall young man here, Wiktor.
Yeah, 21 years of age. Looks about half that.
Yeah,
we're
right.
just getting old.
Okay, he's got to draw the cue ball off the 7 here, so watch where the 7 goes. That's going to be huge. Okay, he kind of escaped. And he's good enough. He's not too thin on the 5. Should be able to come across and play above the 9 for the 7 in the same corner. Now, obviously, Wiktor a big favorite in this match. But he's going to start off the match, I'm sure, just like any other match, like it's a dead heat. But you may see if he gets a big lead, he may toy around with this match a little bit, trying to find the break a little bit, maybe. Well, what a nice start here for the Polish champion.
Yeah, and I was going to say, so swift as well. Zlateva just getting comfortable in her chair there, and she's already 1-0 down. And Zielinski will want to keep her there for as long as possible, so that when eventually she does get to the table, she'll be under big pressure already. Decked out in her national colours.
Yeah, pretty nice pace right there as well for Wiktor.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the format we saw everyone play yesterday. We had 2 rounds to decide which players went through straight to the last 64. So all those players who are already through to that stage have the day off today. So now it's all the players who lost yesterday. And the earlier you went out yesterday, the more you have to do today to claim one of those places in the last 64. And then as of tomorrow, when we're down to that 64, it's straight knockouts from there on in, and it will be race to 11 all the way through, except for the final on Sunday night, when it's race to 13 to become world champion 2022. Double elimination, Jeremy, it's such a part of the pool tradition, and it's a great thing in as much as anything, because it sets pool apart from other sports. This is a rare thing to have at this level of elite competition in anything.
Well, I think it sets up well for pool just because in a winter break format, and we all know, even though it's a race to 9 and 11 and then 13 in the finals, it can still be kind of short in a sense, especially as great as these players are in the winter break format. Oh, those balls broke much nicer. Awful kiss on the cue ball, though. So we'll get to see our first chance, or our first look at Kristina with ball in hand. And it's a funny thing, right? I mean, of course, the day off for most of these players that have qualified already is huge. But then you can look at it, the players that get these extra matches here today and still make that final 64, you could say that's a big compliment to going further in the event as well.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of the players who are already through to tomorrow were saying yesterday, oh, I'm going to use the day off to do a bit of practice, work on a few things. But of course, they're all going to think that, and we only have so many practice tables, so your time doing that will be quite limited. Most of the day will be spent sitting around thinking about the big day coming up tomorrow. So it can be an advantage to be involved in this loser side today, providing, of course, you get through and are still here tomorrow.
Yeah, you all have a lot of players consuming those practice tables, the ones trying to survive here in Judgment Day, right? So, but the one good thing is most of these players are pretty tight. So you'll see a lot of them, you know, watching the matches. I know it sounds crazy, but you have certain players that you watch that kind of can get you in stroke without you even hitting balls, right? So somebody that's similar in your style, similar in your technique, maybe. Kristina, lefty. Lefties always scare me. Doesn't matter what the sport is.
They're always great to watch, though, aren't they? Yeah. Again, whatever the sport is, you think of Phil Mickelson. I know isn't competing at the moment. John McEnroe back in the day in tennis. And the likes of Jimmy White and Judd Trump in snooker. Something about left-handers, they're just so watchable.
Yeah, I think it started with me with the sweet swinging lefties in baseball, and then it moved on. I was a tennis player as well, so McEnroe was a big hero of mine. All right, tough shot here, even tougher position. Wow, pretty nice stroke right there.
Yeah, not the sort of shot you want to leave yourself when you've only had a few shots so far in the match on a huge day in your pool life. She's here after losing 9-3 yesterday to Tyler Steyer, young man you know well, Jeremy, from Moscone Cup action past.
Yeah, and Tyler has to move on as well today. He said he didn't really do much wrong in the second match, just his opponent ran a bunch of racks. I believe it was one of the Austrian players, one of the four I do not know. Very difficult two-rail kick here with the 9 in the way. It's going to kick somewhat soft, most likely. Couple reasons. Of course, for the safety, plus the soft kick, you know, really allows a lot of accuracy, right? Usually, anyways.
Ball in hand. Start the clock, please.
No offensive shot for Wiktor, and he really could put the squeeze here. Maybe get his opponent on 2 fouls. That kind of opened up a little more than he wanted. So he's left a cross-side kick here.
Well, this is what you want to do, isn't it? You want to be merciless. You know your opponent is bound to be nervous on such a big stage that she isn't used to, and you can't be kind about it. You've got to make her feel those nerves more than ever.
Yeah, and you know, like any sport, you know, 50% of things once you're at this level are somewhat routine. But one thing that Wiktor could look at and take advantage of in this match is maximum effort every shot. You know, that's something you have to actually remind yourself of at times, even as quality as these players are. And it's a fine line, Michael, right? It's like maximum effort, focus without overdoing it, because the game is so delicate. Okay, he's gotten a little funny here, a little cueing. He's got a draw stroke. Shouldn't be a problem. Very natural player, right?
Yeah, 21 years of age. He was beaten by Daniel Guttenberger yesterday. That's why he's in this round. You mentioned his win in Las Vegas. He also had a big win in Slovenia quite recently. Beat Joshua Filler in the final. Race to 9. So that's going to fill you with confidence.
Yeah, so impressed with the Polish players. And the one thing that I see, you know, they're all a little different, of course. The build is a little different, stroke is a little different. But just like I talked about a moment ago, very natural. You don't see a lot of extra movement, you know, you don't see, I think it's a thing of the past anyways, the Filipino kind of pump action. You know, it's not something that I think the players really want to get into too much.
So the second rack started with a scratch off the break from Zielinski, but it finishes the same way as the first ultimately. And in very little time, he's into a 2-0 lead. So another busy day underway. As I said, very different dynamic to it today, because now if you lose, you're out. And here's Chang Yu Lung in action on table 2 against Michael Schneider of Switzerland.
You and I were talking about this man here before the match, and to me, he's just a fine player, very, very natural again. Big swing, a lot of power. Now, really hard to believe he hasn't won as much away from Asia, because he does get out to America, plays the US Open, plays the International. But just very, very fluid player. I think Daniel Schneider's got his hands full here, but there's another player. Daniel has really improved in the last year and a half.
Yeah, I've not seen much of Chang of late, but we're going to be seeing more of him in the near future.
Yeah, kind of a timeless stroke, really. Just very simple. Again, no extra unnecessary movements. Got a little thin on that 8 ball, so back to our main table, though. And Zielinski to break here and give him a 3. Got a lot of action there. And it's kind of simple math there, Michael. The longer guys just produce a little bit of easier power, right? So.
Is that cool?
So he's going to have to push out in between probably the 3 and the 7 up on the top rail, leaving just a portion of the 1, not a makeable portion though.
Just looking at some other early scores. Ivan Meng Lee 2-0 up on Pia Filler. Dennis Grabe has lost the opening rack against Sharik Syed. Grabe would be exactly the sort of player you would have thought could go on a decent run here, but finds himself under pressure early on in the tournament.
He's playing a pretty fine player from Singapore as well, a guy that's improving. Had some nice finishes back in America the last few months.
And Ip Tung Pong is 2-0 up against Jeff Buckley.
Okay, very difficult shot here. Most wouldn't take it on straight in the corner. They may cross corner bank this, an element of a two-way shot. Okay, that's just a little more speed. You want that to either go in or get away from the pocket.
Yeah, nothing really going her way. She's going to feel at the moment like she's not really got involved in this match yet. They always say it's important to get your first rack on the board, but particularly so for someone in her position.
Cool.
Yeah, the first and last are the racks that are always the toughest, but she did get ball in hand in that second rack, didn't get out, but I think she'll have some opportunities. Difficult position play here. I think he's just going to try and get to the backside of the 3 some kind of way, whether it's to play a safety, maybe a combination. Wow.
Foul.
Okay, so you said a moment ago, Jeremy, she will get some chances. Here's one for her now. She's got ball in hand. If she is to seriously compete in this match, this is the sort of opportunity she's got to make the most of. This is a real chance to get off the mark.
Doesn't appear the 4 goes on the side, so she'll have to either come forward or draw above. It looks like she's going to go forward for the 4 in the lower right-hand corner. I think that's a very smart play. Keep it simple. Well, she's perfectly lined up here just to stop your ball.
"28 years of age. She's from the Bulgarian capital, Sofia. This is just a little tester for someone nervous.
Yeah, she got a little straight on the 6 on the side.
Extension cool.
Good thing is position's fairly natural, just coming across the table. The one thing I haven't seen her really do yet is let the stroke out a little bit. It's been a little tentative pocketing the ball, so a shot like this normally, you know, You're not going to blast it, of course, but go ahead and put a little swing on it. Opens the pocket up. Yeah, that's a nice shot.
Yeah, and I know we've been talking a lot, you used the word tentative there, we've been talking about nerves, but that is the story for her, isn't it? Because obviously she's got ability. In this situation, can she bring it out? So that really is the dominant theme for her in the early stages of this match. Again, just a slight little tester when you're feeling like that. What she would give to see these two balls disappear and then settle into the match from there.
Yeah, speed control important as well. Oh, that's a beautiful stroke there. I mean, very athletic swing. Man, that cue ball just that bad. This has ended up a pretty good tester here, especially to try and get on the board.
So you would say this is a big shot in the match because it does have just that little bit of potential to go wrong. She should get it. Yeah, and she's come. They threw them all.
Trailing 2 racks to
2-1. And that was a great way, Jeremy, for her to win her first rack. The fact that she did have some difficult shots and managed to pass those tests, that's going to make her feel even better.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of what she needed. You know, that a few testers, but a few that allowed a little variety too. You know, she had to let the stroke out a little bit. She had to make a really nice shot on the 9, being on the rail. And now she's made a ball in the break, and I think she has a pocket for the 1. A bit of a tester, though, just because to have any future, she has to really roll this ball. Pretty thin cut to a portion of the pocket, trying to hold position on the 2. Nothing easy. Some may play the safety behind the 5. Wow, that's a confident stroke. And I think she was maybe trying to get into the 2 ball a little bit there. Might as well go for the combo, I think, anyways. Not really much of an offensive option besides that.
Should say we already know one of the matches for the next round later today, because Torsten Homan has been given a bye through this round. His opponent, Monica Webb, was a late withdrawal, so we already know that Homan will play Tyler Steyer, who we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I don't think he was really going for that. He was trying to cut the 2 past the 6 and the 8, trying to play a safety. Well, you're going to have a lot of, you know, matches you might not consider a final, but matches that you could see, you know, deep in the tournament. We're going to see here on Judgment Day. A little bit of a kick there on the 2 ball.
Bound to have thoughts in your head when there's such a gulf in experience and achievement. You go out, you're almost panicking. What if it's like 9-0, 9-1, something like that? Well, at least she's already averted the 9-0. So little things like that can just help you feel a little more like you belong.
you know, for Kristina to probably win this match. She'll need some help from Wiktor. I mean, we can all kind of probably say that, but tell you what, the way you get that help though is put together a few racks at the beginning, you know, a few clearances, right? Get a little confidence going and put a little heat on Wiktor. Ah, that's a nice shot. I mean, I tell you what, I saw a lot of players yesterday that never settled in on a shot like that.
Well, this is what we were saying. She's clearly got the ability. She can play the game to a high level. But the challenge so much is what makes the difference, I guess, is whether or not you can bring it out in this sort of stage. Signs now emerging. She had a little bit of bad fortune early on, or at the very least didn't get good fortune when she needed it. One or two things just went against her.
Well, look at the power on that draw stroke. I mean, she looked like she swung about 25%, excuse me, and drew the ball the length of the table and got pretty nice position considering where she was at. So a big 4-ball here. This should really clear the rack. If she makes this, she should get out. And I don't know if you've noticed, Michael, but a much more confident stroke the last rack and a half.
Oh yeah, well, everything's different. The body language as well. She just feels part of the match now, which she perhaps didn't earlier on. Lo Ho Sum, who we saw playing the defending champion Albin Ocean yesterday, he's 3-1 up now against Jose Alberto Delgado. The reward for that is a clash with David Al-Kaidi, who was one of the biggest names to be sent into the loser's side yesterday. Bizarre Spahiu 3-1 up against Michael Jednak. Francesco Candela going really well, 4-0 lead over Mitrofzini Al-Abedini. And Chris Reinhold, another young man you know well, Jeremy, 3-1 down against Imran Majid, one of the home contingent.
Yeah, Imran, known him for a long time. Very, very solid Nineball player from the UK.
Say the same about Chris Melling, who now leads 4-0 against Dino Nair of South Africa.
I believe Imran did make one Mosconi Cup team, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong there, but I thought he made one back in the day. Oh, beautiful out here.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. So Zlateva really growing into the match. Level now at 2-all.
Yeah,
trail 2-0.
The out of the match so far, really.
Some of a bit of a look around some of the other tables. Dmitry Yungo 3-0 up on Radoslav Babika, another of the Poles.
Yeah, maybe the original Polish, you know, best player.
And there's Chris Melling we were talking about, former Mosconi MVP. He's got a 5-0 lead now.
I talked to Chris last night, and he did tell me he made one mistake in his first match, as far as he fluked a 3-ball in, then missed a 4 on the side. But other than that, he played very solid. So he was looking forward to today, even though one more loss and he's out of the event.
Well, the ball he missed after the fluke was really surprising, and he looked almost embarrassed by the fluke and perhaps hadn't entirely refocused himself for the next shot. But, Joshua Filler played so well in that match. Kristina Zlateva is playing pretty well here now, growing into it. 2-all.
Yeah, I'd never really watched Kristina play, but the first few shots were a little delicate, kind of dainty with the stroke, but now pretty comfortable. Maybe the adrenaline's flowing. She's got a nice shot on the 1. No soft break there, Michael.
No, absolutely. It's noticeable. Well, she's playing that shot differently now. It's the problem, of course, for these women pool players. They're always saying, you know, we want more events and more opportunities. It'd be great to see it. But then they almost damage their own case by coming to these events and playing well and getting wins. And then we're almost saying, well, shouldn't everyone just be playing in together? Which, of course, they are in this event. It's hard to think, actually, of many sports where the gap between the top men and the top women is so small. And you see in sports like horse racing, darts, you see women who are able to compete at a relatively high level, but few, if any, more so than pool.
Yeah, and just like the, you know, the guys in the events, right?
Extension cool.
These ladies, if they keep playing with the best players, whether it be men or women, they're going to improve, they're going to compete, they're going to get comfortable. Because really, when it comes to the physical side of the game, there's no reason why the ladies can't be right there with the guys. And that's a prime example of a shot like that. You know, just exactly how the guys would have played it. You know, addressing the cue ball with some English from some distance. Not really fearing the shot. Touchy little situation here, getting from the 4 to the 6, though. Super nice shot there, cheating the pocket a little bit. Just so she could get a little closer. Now this shot here, she's going to come off the point with the cue ball, so hard to predict exactly. This may fall towards the 6 ball a little bit. Oh, she cut off the point. What a beautiful shot.
Going back to what we were saying, people talk about having women's events to inspire young females to take up the game, but this is surely a much better way to do it, to see players like Kristina and then others, Kelly Fisher, Siming Chen, players like that, actually coming and just competing on levels and often winning. And the thing is, they're capable of doing it in this sport.
Tell you what, there really hasn't been many shaky balls pocketed here in the last 3 games by Kristina. I mean, it's been pretty much the center of a pocket for the most part. She's got to pinch this back and the side and take the cut shot. I don't think she'll try to move the ball forward. I think that would be a little bit of a mistake. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure I've seen any of the guys move the cue ball any easier than Kristina.
Two very good racks in a row, and she's won 3 in a row from 2-0 down. She's now leading by 3 racks to 2. Could be a very big story on the cards here. Looks like a different player now. Now look at this, Daniel Schneider. A couple of balls away from leading Chang Yu Lung, 5-1. Remember, it's still race to 9 at this stage. We'll go up to 11 tomorrow, and then 13, as we were saying, for the final.
And I haven't really seen Chang shoot much in the last few games, so Daniel taking advantage of this winter break format and putting a few together.
Yeah, looking very confident, and he's already more than halfway to victory. A victory which, if he was to achieve it, would send him through to play Billy Thorpe in the next round.
Sorry, I was walking over here, and you said already 10 seconds, and I just got up and shot.
Yeah,
Some debate going on there with Marcel Eckhart, of the game's leading referees. Although, I think it's all in good spirits, so doesn't seem to be any big problem about it. So that could be a good story developing as well. So, can Kristina Zlateva continue this great run she's on? She's now leading for the first time.
I'll tell you, if she continues to get shots after the break, I think she's going to continue to run out. Now we'll see what type of shot she wants to play here. Excuse me, on the 1. She's got a very difficult combination, one you normally wouldn't play. If she knows the shot, she can kind of shoot through the 1, banking it up, and kind of force the cue ball underneath the pink. You don't have to really do much. Just she may be able to roll forward through the 1 and get behind. Yeah, that's a beautiful shot. And very good control. She has definitely played with a lot of top players, I can tell that.
Well, just couldn't have got in behind that 4 any better, could she?
No, and again, that's a lot of pool being played to be able to stun the ball, you know, lightly like that. The object ball moving quickly, but the cue ball moving slowly. Not easy. Now, one thing, I would go at this myself somehow. You know, I wouldn't go near the 3-5 with the cue ball, though. You don't want to tear the 3-5 apart. That's a little bit of insurance for Wiktor in this tough situation. He's going to try and push the 4 up a little bit. Smart shot.
Foul. Ball in hand. Start the clock, please.
Now we'll see how Kristina wants to play this. She does have ball in hand, so she could take a chance to open the 3 ball while gaining position on the 2. You know, the 3-5 combination's not very difficult. Interesting to see how she'll play this. She fell a little behind this, so this is going to play a little more difficult. The 9-ball's a big ball. Not the type of combination you want to be cutting the 3 onto the 5.
What we're seeing here is proof of something we often say, that when you're going in as such a big outsider, a key factor is how early you win your first rack. And we saw a couple of players yesterday, it took them a while. Low Ho Sum was one example of that. So by the time they did get settled into the match, it was maybe a bit too late. Whereas Zlateva got her first rack on the board relatively early. And this is what's followed.
Well, I'll tell you, she looks more confident every shot and kind of starting to look like she's kind of out there by herself, which is a big key to playing great pool, I think. Just shot for shot.
Well, I was expecting to spend a lot of the match talking about Zielinski and how he's been rising through the ranks of pool of late and his prospects for the future and how good a player he can be. But we've hardly mentioned him because we've not really seen much of him for the last 15-20 minutes or so.
Extension called.
Well, it's been a lot of Kristina running out, and then she's handcuffed Wiktor a few times, got ball in hand. Tough combination to roll. A little off angle. It's the type you want to shoot a little bit with a little bit more speed usually. Yeah, like that. Well, I don't know who this young lady lost to, but they must have played very well.
She lost to Tyler Steyer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
you did mention that.
9-3.
That's right.
She's playing with a nice pace as well, isn't she? You know, you would think someone not used to this stage, she might be a bit hurried. That would be the way of coping with it all, but she's taking her time here. Nice rhythm around the table. Really now, she'll go 4-2 in front.
With a couple of breaking runs as well, if she gets out. Nice shot there. Gonna get a little closer to the 9 than she desired, but it should be okay. Just got to pay attention. Cue ball's going to be moving a little bit, so either she's going to take the corner on, maybe.
Kristina Zlateva to break. leaving 4 racks to
Looks like
2.
we picked the right match to put on the main table today, because we've got a really good story developing here. Kristina Zlateva of Bulgaria was 2-0 down against the much more fancied Wiktor Zielinski, but she's now leading 4-2. She's won 4 racks on the bounce and is playing so well.
Yeah, she's putting 2 together here. Beautiful safety in between. Couple combinations in the last rack that weren't easy. The 3-5 combination hit the heart of the pocket, so she's got to be feeling good right now. And the thing is, this is another thing about pool. It's so, you know, of a mind game. Of course, she's feeling great. She knows where she's at in the World Pool Championships, ahead 4-2. But she's got to also keep herself in check a little bit. So still piece things together like she's done so far. Little off angle here on the 1. I think she's going away from the 2 ball a little bit. So can she hold position, because the 7's big? We've already found out that the young lady doesn't lack in power, right? And that is always going to be difficult. I don't think she's got a pocketable 2 ball here. It's close. She can certainly see the blue 2, but can she make it? So if she can't make it, Michael, she's going to have to overcut the 2 ball and kind of run the cue ball safe a little bit. It's a great camera view there. Yeah, nice shot. And there really hasn't, this may overrun a little bit, but there really hasn't been any shot selection of bad quality so far by Kristina.
Yeah, very often players who are inexperienced on this sort of stage, their thinking can get a little muddled. As you say, no signs of that at the moment.
Oh, obviously we've seen some beautiful safeties. This one got away from her a little bit, but shot selection has been excellent. Our first fluke of the match. Yes.
Well, he was looking so anxiously to see if it was going to get there. He knew how important it was. That stays over the pocket. That can go 5-2 in no time. As it is, he has a chance to stem the tide here. These are sitting nicely.
Yeah, and with every ball in rack won by Kristina, I think another little alarm clock has gone off in Wiktor's head, and all it does is mount a little pressure.
Shane Van Boning, man is still looking for his first world title. He spent a lot of time watching. You were talking about how some players today might spend a bit of time watching and actually learn a bit from that. He's spent a lot of time looking on yesterday and doing so again early today. Meanwhile, back here, that has not gone to plan at all for Zielinski.
Extension call.
It doesn't take much on these beautiful diamond tables. You know, the bed is very fast, so it doesn't take much to pinch the cue ball a little much. Oh.
As he sits down, he knows the way Zlateva's been playing. Odds on, this is going to be 5-2 in the next few seconds. It's not entirely routine, though, is it, Jeremy?
No, not at all. And I think as great as she's played,
Extension
she'll keep
call.
it pretty simple here. I don't think she'll go to the top end of the table and then back down for the 9. Great shot. She'll go for her extension. She might possibly take her extension as well.
Well, absolutely no reason not to. This stage of the rack. Five in a row, and now past the halfway point in terms of that target of 9. Now, Carl Boyes is out there somewhere. What he's up to.
Cheers, Michael. Yeah, I'm at the side of the arena. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the arena. We've got 16 tables in play. There's 12 around the side, like a U shape. Then there's 3 behind the TV table. No real drama going on at the moment. Chris Melling's playing, he's just about to win. The wife of Joshua Philippa, she's playing over sort of that way. She's in a close battle. Joshua's also watching. The biggest story of this round is Kristina on table 1, which you guys are watching. Back to you.
First time I've ever heard Carl Boyes deliberately speaking quietly in his life. Ip Tung Pong is 7-1 up against Jeff Buckley. Ip Tung Pong was the player who took Billy Thorpe to a hill finish yesterday.
Rack 8.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch Wiktor play yesterday, but losing your first match, right? Making a couple mistakes here, a lot of pressure on you. He's got to stay mentally strong here. His next opportunity at the table is, I think, going to be a huge determining factor on the outcome of this match. Don't lose the cue ball. Okay. And she's ended up with a shot, I believe. Maybe it's not much she can do with the cue ball, but I think she can get the 1 down. Now the 2's on the opposite end of the table, so very hard to gain position. Now, if she can see it, we've seen a powerful draw stroke already from the young lady, so. Yeah. So she wants to avoid a collision on the 5 or the 7. Wow, how sweet was that?
Beautifully timed. Waleed Majid is on the hill, 8-1 up against Kyle Akalu of South Africa. Pia Filler now leading 5-3 against Ivan Mengling. Yukio Akagariyama has got a 6-3 lead over JJ Fall, another South African. Dimitri Yongo now with a 6-0 lead over Radoslav Babika. Chris Melling has now completed victory. Carl was alluding to that. He's closed it out at 9-1. And will play, that was against Dean O'Neill, so he'll play Baram Lotfi in the losers qualification round. Imran Majid still going well, 7-2 up Chris Reinhold.
Yeah, very impressed with this young lady. Like right there, she didn't force it. She knows she got a little out of line on the 3. Very easy shot on the 3, but not easy position on the 5. So she's got to settle herself and kind of roll one in.
Extension call.
Well, she's queuing down, so maybe going into the 7 here. Oh no, she hit it beautifully. Wow.
We saw a number of players last year sort of emerge from the pack and make a real name for themselves in this World Championship. And if you've been drawing up a list when we got here of maybe half a dozen players who you felt might make a big step forward this week, I think Zielinski would definitely have been on that list. So if he comes away from here having lost 2 matches that he was expected to win, it'd be a big setback for him. However, just as I say that, Zlateva has had a big setback in this match.
Yeah, her first really bad miss, right? I mean, I wonder if Zielinski, if he slows the pace down a little bit now. He played pretty fast at the beginning, right? And he's not a slow player by any means, but can't really afford a mistake from here. Ooh, did you see that? Wow, the cue slipped out of his hand. He almost fouled the cue ball.
I think we might see that one again.
Wiktor Zielinski wins the rack.
So potentially important juncture in the match there, and here's what you were talking about, Jeremy.
Oh, wow, just an inch away from the cue ball, really.
Yeah, doesn't that tell you a lot about his mental state at the moment? Anyway, he'll be feeling a good bit better about finishing that one out. He had messed up an earlier chance to stem the tide, but he's taken that one. So after losing 5 racks in a row, he's taken the 8th and closes to 5-3 down. Only 21 years of age. Look at that ranking of 35. Well, that's not going to stay that way for long. Okay, today isn't going very well for him, but overall, of late, he's marked himself out as a player ready to take a big step up in the game. Youngest winner of a Euro Tour title.
Rack 9.
Yeah,
sorry, Jeremy.
Go ahead, Michael.
Trailing 5 racks to 3.
Say, we've been talking so much, haven't we, about the Poles and the Polish contingent and the great pool culture there is over there, and how they're looking for that one big star. Okay, not the evidence of today, but he's at the forefront, potentially being that man to win a big title, maybe become a Mosconi Cup player as part of this new generation of Poles.
Yeah, and like in most sports, it's a numbers game, and Poland is set up with the numbers, that's for sure. And they have it, I think, somewhere around 8 players in the event, something like that, but they really have 5 or 6 that are just top 20, top 25 players in the world.
Well, the winner of this will actually play another Pole in losers qualification, Thomas Kaplan. Remember, these are all the players we're watching today who lost their first match yesterday. So another defeat and you're out, but the winners of these matches will then later today to face the players who were beaten in their second match yesterday, and that's losers qualification. And the 32 players who come through that joined the 32 who survived yesterday. That'll be the last 64, and then it's straight knockout.
He's gotten a little out of line here. He's got to take a chance, I think, drawing the cue ball into the 9, trying to produce position on the 4. Yeah, nice control. The soft draw, that way it wouldn't get away from him. A little in between, I think, just one rail, I think. Yeah, nice shot.
Well, Zlateva was going along so nicely and then really threw in a pretty horrible shot. Since then, it's been all about Zielinski. Once he'd survived that moment where he almost dropped his cue on the cue ball.
Yeah. Speed there a little off, a little bit of an angle here on the 6. Should just roll forward. Key to this shot is don't baby it too much. Go ahead and let the stroke out. Yeah, nice shot.
That's 6-2. Then she has that miss, and since then Zielinski has turned it round, and he's back to only 5-4 down now as he breaks off in rack 10. Still in danger of a big upset here.
Yeah, very much so. Kristina looks as settled as any player I've seen so far. Watch out, cue ball. Oh my.
Foul.
All right, difficult situation here on the 2 ball near the 9.
Foul.
Looks like her only problem here, really.
Yeah, the 2 ball's tough. She does have ball in hand on the 1.
Stop the clock.
The 2 does have both upper corners. So I don't know if I get fooled with the 3 all the way back down table if I try to play the 2 by the 6 here. Very difficult to gain position that way. I think I may have to get underneath this 2 ball, and if I don't like it, I can play a simple safety behind the 9. She's got to be pretty pinpoint with where she's trying to look at now to get game position on the 2 by the 6. Yeah, I don't know. You know, if she gets where she wants with the cue ball, you know, this could be easier, but I think there's still some danger in getting in a tough position. Well, speed looks pretty good. And did she gain just enough angle to be able to get on the 3 ball? I think she's okay.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. Just while we wait for the next shot, news from elsewhere. Dmitry Yongo on the hill, 8-0 up against Radoslav Babika. Imran Majid also on the hill, leading Chris Reinhold 8-3. Dennis Grave now 6-3 up against Sharik Syed. Winner of that plays Dang Tang Kien, who we saw on the main table last night. Daniel Schneider has a 6-3 lead over Chang Young Lin. But back here, another potential turning point.
Yeah, and I thought it was a little bit of a funny spot. I thought she got where she wanted. Something that some players don't realize is these prime conditions that the ball does cut a little easier. Oh, look at this. Wow. Something you can't predict there, Michael.
It was funny how earlier on in the match, Zlateva wasn't getting the little bits of fortune here and there, and things just not quite falling her way. Now, as is so often the case, it's all completely reversed.
Oh, that's a sign of frustration there, the way he kicked at that ball. Not much really calculation, and really kind of overhit it, in my opinion.
Ball in hand. Start the clock.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. There was almost an air of resignation there that he wasn't going to find a way out of that situation.
Yeah, you're going to kick at that ball with a little speed, of course, but you're not going to kick to where you lose accuracy, and that's exactly what happened. So a bit of a reprieve after a mistake there from Kristina.
That's only going to make her feel more comfortable if her mistakes aren't being punished. There's a very frustrated young man. Came here with, I think it's fair to say, reasonably high expectations that he was at least going to make some impact on the championship, and he may yet. In a few moments, he could be 3 racks away from going out of it.
Yeah, a little flat here on the 5. She could have used a little more angle to make things a little easier, but she really does possess a lot of power. Good cue action. And that was a bit of, you know, a bit of misfortune for Wiktor, but you could also say, you know, kind of a little frustration set in on that kick shot. He could have given a lot better effort. So that's a little of that help we talked about at the beginning of the match.
Sure, didn't help his own cause. This looks absolutely fine. So Zielinski potted 3 balls off the break, but scratched at the same time. Still had a chance later. Now the alarm bell's really sounding for him. Kristina Zlateva, 2/3 of the way to victory here. She leads 6-4.
Yeah.
Now, Chris Melling is safely through to the next round. He's completed a comfortable win over Dean O'Neill, and he's talking to Carl. Then it's
Chris,
knockout.
The shot maker, Melling. Chris, you've just won. How was the match?
Yeah, good match. Played well. I think I ran about 5 racks. You know, missed a couple of chances, but all in all, I thought it was a good performance.
What's your mindset coming into today after losing a tough first-round match against Joshua Filler?
It was always going to be tough against Josh. Obviously, he's world class. He's won a lot of major tournaments, and you've got to take your chances. I missed a couple. I should have gone 3-all, missed a chance to go 3-all, and then the match turned on me. But you've just got to forget it. Today's a new day, a new tournament. I take this as just a single elimination from now on.
Later on tonight, you've got one more match to qualify against Byron Lockford. Have you played him before?
I've played him once, believe it or not, and it was here in the last World Championships. Fortunately, I beat him.
So you're going to beat him again?
I'm going to do my best. Hopefully I get a couple of good rolls and things go my way.
All right, good luck tonight, Chris. All the best.
Cheers, pal.
Yeah, Chris Melling not been playing a huge amount of 9-ball recently, and we felt that may count against him here, but looks like he played pretty well today, came through handily. Talking yesterday about he still has a big ambition of winning this World 9-ball.
Yeah, I talked to him last night. He seemed very settled. He didn't seem very upset about the loss. You know, he regretted a mistake he had there to make it 3-all. But now it's not going to be a break and run. But I was going to mention that it seems like every game won for Kristina, she put another one on the board right behind it. Big kick shot here for Wiktor. Goes down 3 games here in this situation, nearing the end. A lot of pressure. Okay. I think she's going to have to contact the 9 here. I think, anyways. Don't think the 9 will go through towards that corner. Maybe cross corner, the same pocket the 1's going near, but. Contacting the 9, not the worst thing in the world. She could use that to come 1 rail down for the 2.
Radoslav Babica isn't going to lose 9-0. Still probably going to lose, you would think. 8-1 down against Dimitri Yongo, having just taken the 9th rack. Yongo still a big favourite, though, to go through and play Matthew Edwards of New Zealand in losers qualification.
Looks like Dennis Grave has advanced past Shark Sayed.
Yeah, we told you he was doing well on that one at 6-3 in front. I know that did go to 8-3. And yeah, seems as though that one's been wrapped up now. So he'll play Dang Tan Ken.
A bit more of a stun there than the high ball I thought she'd put on the cue ball. Easy to scratch on this kick shot.
Foul.
Now Wiktor's got a great opportunity with ball in hand.
Just one more match I want to update you on for now. Daniel Schneider, 8-3, leading Chang Yung Lin.
Yeah, and shooting at the 9 to win. And Daniel really just sat his opponent down in the chair a lot. Super impressed with how he's played so far this morning.
So if Schneider completes that win over Chang Yulong, he'll be Thorpe in losers qualification. And he has. That match is now over.
Yeah, I know Billy wants a good night's sleep. Wanted a good night's sleep. Kind of forget about day 1. Get on into today and see how he fares. But kind of get the feeling that Zielinski's got to put a rack or 2 together after getting out here. Can't afford to give this lady a much more opportunity at the table. Obviously, reading games doesn't mathematically add up for Zielinski, but just don't feel like the young lady's going to dog it if she gets an opportunity.
No, she's grown in confidence as it's gone on. She did look very uncomfortable walking out into the arena. We did say, though, once she got into the match and started playing and potting a few balls, she'd feel a much more familiar ground, and that's exactly the way it's played out. But she's still got work to do here.
Zielinski wins the rack.
Closes once again to 1 behind at 6-5. So Daniel Schneider, as I said, 9-3 winner over Chang Yulong, and now plays Billy Thorpe. It's going to be a tough one for Thorpe. He's not been playing great by his own admission.
Yeah, Billy, you know, like most of us, relies on his stroke, and if the timing's off a little bit, it doesn't take much. And you feel it, you know it as a player, and you know, it can get in your head a little bit.
Now Pia Filler, 7-3 lead over Ivan Meng Lee.
I think she was trailing 3-1 as well, so maybe 6 in a row or so for her.
Great chance to go through and play Bashar Hussein Abdul Majid.
Rack 12. Wiktor Zielinski to break.
Imran Majid has closed out that match now against Chris Reinhold. I know he's someone you've spoken very well of in the past, Jeremy. You've been very involved with him in a Moscow Cup since. Where do you feel he's at now with his career? Because I think most people would have expected him to have accomplished a bit more by now over the last couple of seasons.
Well, yeah, I mean, Chris is, you know, he's still trying to improve. Of course, he's always, you know, he's got a like all of us, a little technique things he's always working on. But I mean, it's a tough sport, right? I mean, it's hard to win in this sport. As you know, the sport's come along to where there's going to be so many more events as the years go on, which is a beautiful thing, but still difficult to win. Okay, I was wondering about that. You know, does he play the bank against most other players in a winter break format? You know, instead of the safety? I don't think he even got there, maybe. He's given up a little piece of this one ball. Oh, no. Great camera view there, so maybe a curve shot here.
A couple of other players on the hill. Bizarre Spahiu, 8-3 up against Michael Jednak. Francesco Candela also leading 8-3 against Mitroff Zini El Abedini.
I kind of like the swerve shot here. Difficult kick. She's going to try and go one rail at it. She's got to cue downward here. Got to get a little bite, a little check on the cue ball.
Foul.
Yeah. It's
Ball in hand. Start the clock, please.
so Wiktor getting the reward of a nice safety there after the break. Should just come between the 6-7 with the cue ball. Don't do anything more. That should lead you naturally towards the 3.
Saw the stats going through there for the fouls, but quite a few of them in this match.
Yeah, now he may draw back past the 6.
Extension call.
Looks like he's going to do that.
Speaking of fouls, JJ, you referred earlier to the 3 fouls and out rule, so just explain that maybe for people who aren't familiar with Nineball, how that works.
Yeah, in the game of Nineball, besides making the 9 with a combo or at the end of the rack, there's another way to win games. That's 3 consecutive fouls by a player. So you'll see sometimes when there's congestion or a rack that's really not runnable, you may see one player get ball in hand on a foul and try and really get their opponent to commit 2 more fouls consecutively, and that would be a loss of game. What that does is, you know, it's a rare thing at this level, but occasionally there's a stalemate kind of situation with the balls, the way they lay, where no one wants to really go offensive because there's no future in it. So again, you may see it once or twice the entire event. And not only because players stay aggressive and try to run out, but you know, with the jump cues and as great as the players are kicking at the balls, it's just hard to get the 3 consecutive fouls. Got to pay attention here. Easy shot, but he's got to work the cue ball a little bit. Now he's going to cue up, I think, here and draw to the side rail and kind of bleed the cue ball between the 8 and 9. So he should come to this left long rail with a little low right spin, hit about the middle diamond, and then kind of fall downward. Oh, that's a little light. All right. That fast bed kind of helped Wiktor a little bit.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it, how we started the match talking about how Kristina Zlateva needed to settle in. Now it's Zielinski, the man trying to find some composure here. Lost it for a while. But he's the man with the momentum now, and he's level for the first time
wins the rack
since it was 2-2. It's now 6-all. Now, let's see what's going on elsewhere. A lot of matches coming towards the finish now. We've seen players already getting through. Imran Majid, we said he had finished off his match against Chris Reynolds, who we were talking about. It's a 9-3 win for him. And this is Babaki. He was 8-0 down, Jeremy, and back to 8-3. Surely he can't win that one, can he?
Well,
can he?
He's a player that, if you watched him play, you wouldn't think he was world class. Like, you know, nothing against Babika, just you know, not as impressive cueing as some players, but he's got one heck of a chin. He never gives up.
Rack 13.
And he's really the most experienced Polish player, that's for sure.
Scores are tied, 6 racks all.
Pia Filler on the hill now. She's really taken control of that match against Ivan Main Lee. 8-3 now.
I wonder if Zielinski takes a little speed off the break, because losing the cue ball is important. Yeah, he definitely took a little speed off there. wanted to make sure there was no, didn't lose the cue ball in a pocket somewhere, and he's gonna have to go for this jump shot, it looks like.
Yeah, didn't lose it in a pocket, but has lost it in another sense. So having regained the momentum now, he's really got to try to keep it all the way to the end of the match.
Well, he's a huge favorite to make the jump, but he's still got to get position on the 2 to get to the 4. Okay, nice shot. Really kind of perfect position now to draw the cue ball. When you look at this shot here, you don't have to come all the way back. Beautiful jump. You'd like the cue ball kind of where it's at now to play the 4 to get on the 5. That'd be a perfect position. This is going to come a little further, get a little flatter.
It's not coming easily to him at the moment, that's for sure.
Well, he struggled a little to bed, right? The speed of the bed. A huge game when he overran getting on the 8. And he overcut it into the side pocket. Really got Kristina going. Nice recovery there.
Yeah, and in a match he was so strongly expected to win, but then faced the prospect of going out of the championship, having played 2 and lost 2. If he does get through this, he's going to feel such a sense of relief. Sometimes that can be what you need to really free yourself up and start producing your best. Last time he led was at 2-1.
He'll play on the far side of the 7 here, keeping it very simple for the side pocket. Looks like he's gotten perfect to just roll forward. And possibly his first lead in some time in this match, huh, Michael?
Yeah, so I was saying 2-1 was the last time, and this is the first time.
Rack 14.
Has Kristina
Wiktor
Zlateva
Zielinski
missed her
break.
big chance? So
Hitting
will
7
there be
racks to
one
6.
last late rally? She's going to need it now, because for the first time in a long time, she's trailing against Wiktor Zielinski, who's breaking at 7-6 up.
Yeah, and again, I don't think you'll see a big break. Yeah, just a nice little pop break. The one near the cue ball, we'll see how that develops. It's gotten a little tricky. I think he does have a pocket for in the middle there for the 1. He didn't take on, he had a cross corner bank a couple games ago and elected a safety, so I don't know if you're going to see Wiktor take on very, very difficult shots in this close match. A little different mentality. He feels like he's won a few games off the safety, so, and he's drawing the ball here, so we'll see. Okay, beauty.
We were keeping an eye on Pia Filler's match. I told you she was on the hill. She's now through. She's beaten Ivan Meng Lee 9 racks to 3, and will play Bashar Hussein Abdul Majid. Losers qualification. Yukio Akagariyama and JJ Fall heading for a close finish, 7-all in that one. Jakub Konyar 7-5 up against Roman Hubler.
Looks like he can just draw the cue ball towards the 7. Ooh, ooh, wow. Got a lot more on the ball than he anticipated. And that was from a little fear of going behind the 7 or maybe on top of the 7. So, but nearly lost the cue ball on the side.
Alex Pagalayan of Canada, who course, we've been seeing for so many years. Such a unique character, really, in the game. He'll be up next on the main table against Britain's Craig Osborne.
Yeah, Alex still desperately wants to win big tournaments. You know, the rest of the world has kind of caught up with those great players. One thing you'll see people question Shane and different guys. It's just harder to win these days.
Yeah, because there are so many promising young players coming through. Wiktor Zielinski is one of them, and he's now on the hill. The last time he was 2 racks clear was after he won the first 2 racks of the match. So he's now leading 8-6. And remember, he was 6-4 down, so 4 on the bounce for him. It's now starting to look ever more likely that he will play Thomas Kaplan in an all-Polish clash for a place in 64.
Well, he's facing, can't look past Kristina. Very capable young lady that breaks the balls very well. She's run a couple racks from the break. So if she can get on the back on the board at 8-7, I'll tell you, Wiktor's going to be feeling the heat.
Skylar Woodward is in action on table 2 now, looking to preserve his World Championship campaign. 1-0 up against Ali Al-Obaidli.
Rack 15.
Qatar.
Zielinski to break.
And of course, we saw it in Woodward's match yesterday. It looked as though he had perhaps weathered the storm, as we say, against Daniel Corriere, but then the Italian managed to find something right at the end of the match, having surrendered a strong lead and got through. That's what Zlateva has to do here. But will she get a chance to do it?
Well, the 1 ball doesn't look shootable just yet, as far as offensively. I think he can see the 1 ball, which again will lead towards the safety, maybe behind the 7 with the cue ball. He's looking at the bank shot, just because it does offer natural position with the 3 near. I still think he's gonna, I don't think he's gonna take a chance here. I think it's the match is, you know, too gettable for Kristina in this position. I think he puts the cue ball behind the 7. He's gonna look up table. He's gonna come off the top side of the 1, putting the cue ball behind the 9. And the good thing about this way, you're using the 6 and the 5 to really cover up the 1. Well, this is going to leak a little bit. So now maybe Kristina places the cue ball behind the 7, banking the 1 up the right side of the table.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of adrenaline in that shot.
Well, and the funny thing is, you know, I think against, you know, what he thinks is a more formidable opponent, he tries to bury the cue ball behind the 7. Right, he kept it more simple against Kristina because the simple safety has gotten him a few games here late in the match.
Extension cool.
She could go for the 2-way shot, try to bank this to the lower left and hold the cue ball for position on the 3 plus a safety. I like her trying to go behind the 7 with the cue ball myself. A little light. She's going to need some help. This is going to hurt. Very natural position here, making the 1 and bumping the purple 5. Now it's kind of key. Does the pink pass the 7? I think it does. That helps things.
She won't have mentally thrown in the towel, but she did return to her chair there. The look of someone who knew that the next time she gets out of it may well be to shake hands.
Well, you know, you'd like to say something nice to Kristina. Certainly, I'm sure many will, but she's a competitor, right? So right now, she's feeling just like all of us do. When you're gonna, looks like you're gonna lose, it's not that great of a feeling, right? Even though she can hang her head pretty high and be pretty proud of the way she's played.
Well, it's one of those. She'll feel so disappointed that she didn't close out a win that looked to be there for the taking. Once the dust has settled and she's had a day or 2 to think about it, she'll have great memories of this match, particularly around the middle part of it when she was building that 5-2 lead. It wasn't as if she was just feeding off mistakes. She was controlling things and playing really well, and the fact that she's acquitted herself like that on a stage with which she's absolutely not familiar, I mean, she can definitely take positives away from her World Championship campaign.
Yeah, in my opinion, she's had the tougher layouts since she got a lot of them done, so super impressed. All speed control here. You don't want to hit the 3rd rail. You just kind of want to float into position. That's something you have to learn on this fast table where, you know, a pool room table, you might catch the third rail right there because you trust the speed so much.
Well, it's all over now. Wiktor